Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of iWoofs. I'm here today with my dad, Dr. Ian Dunbar.
Good to see you, Jamie.
Well, good to
Good
see
to
you
see
too,
all
Dad.
of you.
Yeah, and today we're going to continue talking about dog-dog reactivity. In our last episode, we talked a little bit about the causes of reactivity, and today we're going to be diving into preventing reactivity. In future episodes, we will deal with resolving reactivity, which I know is, for many people, what they most want to hear about because they have a dog-dog reactivity
Let's
problem.
keep them waiting. That'll be in episode 29.
Well, for our Top Dog Academy members, they'll get access to all of these episodes immediately. Yeah. So if you're in a hurry, you could sign up for the Top Dog Academy and you'd get them all now.
Yeah.
However, I don't think we can breeze past prevention because prevention is so important. We know that prevention is far easier and safer and more enjoyable, more effective. So for the people out there who have puppies or thinking about getting puppies, I really wanted to give some time to prevention. So before we dive into preventing dog-dog reactivity specifically, I wanted you to talk a little bit about bite inhibition and how that factors into the problem of dog-dog reactivity and this idea of preventing dog-dog reactivity. So what is bite inhibition? Why is it important?
It is the most important. It's not why is it important. It's the most important aspect of, dog's behavior, temperament, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Because
what is bite inhibition?
Bite inhibition, I don't mean that we're going to inhibit the frequency of bites.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to inhibit the power of the bites or the strength of the bites. And that is why dogs are hardwired to be little biting machines. Mm-hmm. And it's all they do.
Right,
puppies.
Puppies.
Yeah, way back when I did research, I had a lot of undergraduate, assistants. And I said, right, I want you to watch puppy behavior, list everything they do. Mm-hmm. And once we have our list, we're going to count how many times they do each one. So they wake up, they scratch, they yawn.
Right.
But they just scratch once and yawn once. Then they pee once. Then they poop, maybe twice. Mm-hmm. And then they jump on another puppy and bite it. It's unbelievable. The frequency of the number of bites. Yeah. It's the number one most common behavior that waking puppies and dogs do.
And it sounds like by several factors.
Oh.
Like not even close.
Nothing comes close. Yeah. Second and third would be chasing and be chased.
Uh-huh.
So
it's really just a prelude to biting.
Yeah, so when you see something's happening all the time, one may assume there must be a reason for this. Mm-hmm. So I asked my undergrads and my graduate student, I want you to go home and I want you to think about these two questions and come back with the answer. Why is puppy biting the number one most frequent behavior? Mm-hmm. And why do puppies have needle-sharp deciduous teeth? Mm-hmm. I said, to give you some clues.
Deciduous meaning they will fall out.
They're going to drop out.
Okay.
Yeah, like leaves in autumn.
Right.
And they can't be of much use for defense because, we smash a puppy in the face and they all break off. Like adults have big old, really strong teeth, but they're blunt. Mm-hmm. But their jaws are enormously powerful. So off they went. They came back the next morning to watch sexual behavior of dogs. And we were doing maternal behavior at that time. That's why we had lots of puppies. Yeah. And they all had the same answer. So that they bite a lot and the bites hurt. Mm-hmm. That is the function of it.
Right.
So they learn when playing with their besties to inhibit the force of their bites. And you'll see it before your very eyes. Like, they make a terrible noise when they're fighting puppies, like... and then they go still. Yeah. And it's not the squeak, because owners always overdo the squeak. They go, ow! And poor puppy's like, what the? What was that?
Okay.
And so it's the stillness. Uh-huh. The puppy goes still, this one stops paying right away. And then he goes through this thing like, sorry, I just got a bit excited. Please, let's play, shall we? Let's play. And all these appeasement gestures come out from the biter, from the bully. And then eventually the bitten dog says, okay. And he'll bend his elbow and and then you'll go into a play bow like this, with this maniacal look on his face, and they come together and play again. Yeah. And you see when the puppies are playing, ever so often, a puppy will call a timeout. And it can be either or.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's let's say, the underdog or a shy dog. Other times it's the dog who's totally confident, but he's, I imagine, worried about whether the puppy's okay with this. So either side calls for a timeout, it stops.
Yeah.
It goes quiet, and they do things like they may scratch, for whatever reason. Maybe they're blowing it off, or maybe they have an itch. Who knows why? Puppies do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then one signals, do you want to play? And then the other says, yeah, I want to play. You sure you want to play? I really want to play. Okay. And they play again.
Yeah.
And I love watching this, filming it, and then playing it back at fast forward.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly like watching children draw with crayons. 2 children on a table.
Okay.
And the activity goes like this.
Okay.
And then it builds up again.
I don't know what they were drawing, but it got pretty intense there.
Well,
they start fighting over crayons.
The
or
little
something.
boy wanted the red crayon.
Or they start poking each other.
The little girl said no.
Yeah.
Little boy took the red crayon, so little girl grabbed it back and broke it.
So I have a question about this bite inhibition. Puppies playing with each other sounds like they naturally are hardwired to learn and teach bite inhibition to one another. Do puppies learn that from playing with older dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any sort of puppy playing with another dog is a great way for them to learn.
And they learn so much from older dogs. That here, the best teacher I ever saw was Claude, and I just got out his old videos the other day to find 2 videos I really want to review.
Mm-hmm.
And Claude could deal with any over-the-top puppy. And I remember Kelly and I fostered a little pit bull from Christmas to the New Year, because he was in the Berkeley shelter. I thought, we loved him,
Yeah.
And we had a name for him, which is now socially inappropriate. So let's say we called him Flash.
Good job. Self-censoring, Dad.
Yeah, self-censoring. And except this word was perfect for him.
Flash.
Anyway, Flash.
Flash is what we're going with.
You couldn't film this dog.
Oh.
When he played, he was like... Then he'd go... like he'd go splat on the ground, his arms wide apart, and his eyes like... and,
so you could film that part.
And then...
Yeah.
And he was uncontrollable. And Kelly and I tried to calm this dog down.
Yeah.
And he was just crazy. It took Claude 5 seconds. And he was down on the lower lawn sniffing, at my house. And we let Flash out. And Claude stopped sniffing, didn't move.
Mm-hmm.
And his eyeballs sort of went, looking at Flash. And Flash sort of went, oh. And he sat down for 5 seconds. Then he went into a down state and didn't move. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
All Claude did was freeze and not even eyeball him, glance at him.
Yeah.
And then after a while, poor old Flash is in this downstay and Claude's doing his marathon sniffs.
Yeah.
Then Claude wanders over and he lifts a paw and does a gentle splat.
Uh-huh.
And then, Flash is still wide-eyed, and then Claude does a quick little staccato electric shock movement, and then they go together and play like you've not seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this with 2 different puppies, and it's amazing the way they played. Absolutely, because Claude could take the entire puppy in his jaws, but then you watch the timeout signals, predominantly from the puppies. Mm-hmm. And then the play didn't start again until the puppy signaled. Mm-hmm. But occasionally from Claude, he was saying, I'm an old dog. I think I need a little break here from you, Flash.
Yeah.
And it's everything in dogs.
Yeah, that reminds me of my wife's a teacher. And at one point, she gave me like a worksheet that they'd gotten at work that was talking about how a kid asks to be a part of a game. And that there was broken down in 17 steps about how complicated it is to have that kind of social savvy about when's the right time to introduce yourself, and then when do you follow
standing on the perimeter, chewing your nails,
exactly, all that stuff. And so I think play is so complicated, and that's why it's so important. It's how you navigate social experiences. So,
And
inhibition.
so the reason I was telling the story that an adult dog with good social savvy teaches a young puppy so much about what is rude.
Mhm.
And this will get you chased or jumped on in the dog park.
Right.
You do not look an older dog in the eye. You don't glance towards them.
Right.
You are still. You must acknowledge you want to play 20 times over before you do it. You don't just run up to another dog. And these are really good skills which will save a disaster happening and then the owner's getting upset and there's no more socialization.
Right. And so if we're talking about preventing reactivity, it sounds like a huge part of the problem that's happening with pet dogs everywhere is they have their puppy socialization in the litter, then they go to their new home and they don't have their vaccinations complete. So there's like a month before the veterinarian thinks they can safely be out in the world or be around, dogs that could potentially be sick.
In contact with the ground.
In contact with the ground.
Urine and feces.
Right. So there's this month where a lot of puppies are not getting any social interaction and they're not getting these valuable experiences either with other puppies or with the older dogs. So what do we do about that? How can new puppy owners give their puppies this kind of social savvy development that they need?
Well, after the 80s and through the 90s and the early aughts, it was so simple. You went to a puppy class. As soon as your puppy's 12 weeks old, you go to an off-leash puppy class.
Mm-hmm.
And the trainer goes round. You've all had your shots, right? We have shot, as a veterinarian, I wrote the shot requirements for where I feel satisfied that these puppies will be safe in a sterilized room with puppies that have also had all their shots. It's a very safe environment. And to put it this way, when the AVMA did put out a notice to the world about puppy classes and the risk of parvovirus, I was part of it. It was a 4-panel thing. And what I should have said at the end is that we have been holding off-leash puppy classes now, starting at 12 weeks of age. For back then, it was 25 years. We have never had a puppy infected with parvo in a class ever. Mm-hmm. We've had a puppy in class that went home and then got sick and went to the vet and was diagnosed with parvo. Right. But no other puppy in a class with an infected puppy ever got infected. Right. And so that is the best statistic. Right. We've done it with 120,000 puppies for how long? 80,
pretty significant
40
number
years,
there.
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah. In the same location at Live Oak Park, which I kind of like. So you go to the puppy class, the trainer will check the shots, then she'll say, right, either let your puppies off, or she'll say, well, let's have 3 off leash first, because she's noticed one puppy's a little scared, and then we have 2 really little puppies. Yeah. So we have them off so they can go around and approach or not approach the others. Yeah. And then we let the others off one by one, and it's always Labradors last, because they are so gung-ho about playing. Yeah. It's not sort of valued, say, by Bernese mountain dogs or Akitas. They're totally different play styles. Right. They're very refined. And it will happen before your eyes. So we'll have 3 types of puppy. The puppies, when you let them off leash, it's hell for leather. So they've had a 1-month social vacuum. They're in class now with, say, another 7 to 11 puppies. Our maximum is 12. And it's instantaneous. Yeah. Then we have puppies that run and hide under a chair, and then the owners immediately pet them for being shy. Mm-hmm. And so I say, I get the owners to stand in the middle of the room. Mm-hmm. They will give these puppies, they can hide under a chair, they can be petted by anyone else, but if they want to be next to you, they're in the middle of the room. Then we have dogs which they're not playing, they're over the top. Mm-hmm. And it's very common. I've mentioned labs and pits a couple of times. Their play style, if they've grown up with an adult dog, but even more refined play styles, like German Shepherds and Akitas, if they played with adult dogs during this month, they're over the top and it's unsuitable. Mm-hmm. So the purpose of this is to build up the confidence of the shy puppies and tone down the confidence of the over-the-top play. Yeah. And we'll get to how we do that later, because it's totally different from what people are doing. A single food treat won't do it. You've got to give a running dialogue to the puppy in terms of verbal guidance.
Mm-hmm.
Every second, is your behavior not bad?
Mm-hmm.
Is it good? Is
Yeah.
it better?
Yeah.
Is it exemplary?
Yeah.
And if it's not bad, and we build it up like that, or does it cross over from not bad to being unacceptable? We have to deal with it. You see, and I see too many people, I guess, in the dog training world, that their feedback is decidedly not binary. We must communicate what's desirable and what's not. So you'll have a lot of people who are totally positive and all we do is praise or click and give food treats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what you do when the dog's doing something that's decidedly wrong and inappropriate, like jumping on children, we've got to solve it instantly. And that's where they don't do that so much. It's primarily positive food rewards. On the other side, we have people that, like a human foible, focus on everything that's wrong.
Right.
And the praise is not less, is not so apparent.
Yeah.
So we got to balance that. And the only way we can do that, so we are perfectly binary and analog. Not just, was it desirable? How well did you do?
Yeah.
Not just that is undesirable and unacceptable, but how unacceptable is it?
Yeah.
The only way we can do that is with our voice, which is not only beautifully binary, think Barbara Woodhouse, I wouldn't go that far, like, what a good dog, or sit! I mean, there's no question in the dog's mind whether Barbara thought that was right or wrong, was there? So I'd calm it down a bit, but I want the dog to know how well they did. So, for example, not being bad for some dogs when entering a dog park or a puppy class, it's really good. And usually when I let a dog off leash and the owner says, I'm a little worried about my dog, I said, I'll look after him. I take him, I say, hi, I'm Ian, I'm your trainer, here's a treat, come here, sit, treat, come here, sit, treat. So the dog's bonding with me. Then I say, all right, now chill, get a grip, go play. Good dog, always a good dog, good dog, good dog, good dog. I'll get 5 good dogs out before the dog's moved.
Yeah.
Why? Because it wasn't bad.
Right.
Wasn't good yet, but it's really good because it's not bad for a dog where the owner thought it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
So we will talk about that, obviously, when we deal with treatment, because you just can't do it with a food treat.
Yeah. So puppy class, fantastic for bite inhibition, fantastic for giving confidence for the shy pups and teaching the big pups to play gently. What about the socialization of other people? Is that helpful for the dog
socialization with unfamiliar people? Let's list the reasons for puppy classes. Mm-hmm. Number 1, to learn bite inhibition.
Whether they're relevant to dog reactivity. So yes, bite inhibition.
Oh yeah,
very relevant.
Number 2, meeting unfamiliar people, because this also builds the owner confidence, because some are stressed at that, because even at 12 weeks you can have some little dogs that are already snapping at their owners, and they're afraid they're going to snap at that child that's also off leash in the class. Yeah. So it's all building confidence in the owners that your dog is okay off leash around unfamiliar people, unfamiliar puppies and so on. Yeah. Back to one little trick for building confidence. I talked about toning down. Yeah. I follow the dog around and give a running commentary. But what about shy dogs? What I do here is I say, right, everyone put your dogs on leash, apart from your dog. You can sit in the middle of the room if you like, and your Akita, or your Bernese, or your Mastiff. What I'm picking here is big, slow-moving dogs that don't like this crazy active play of medium-sized and little dogs. And I just leave these 2 off leash. And
so the first one is a little shy dog.
That's the one.
The second one is a big slow one.
Yeah. So what will happen, the little shy dog will be hiding, or he'll run out and then get spooked and run back again. We're getting this vacillating, building the confidence. But the big dog will eventually find him because he's the only dog off leash. Yeah. And then little dog's hiding and this big head comes in and says, hello. I'm a Bernese mountain dog. Please. And I, did you snap at my nose? He doesn't even react. Yeah. And before you know it, and you watch it, and I call it the receding rectum routine. The big dog says, well, if you don't want to play, I'll leave. As soon as he turns and walks away, the little dog comes out and sniffs his rear end.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we now use that as treatment for
Yeah.
dogs that are really shy. I say, everyone put your dogs on leash, walk in a circle around the room, past the little dog that's hiding.
Yeah.
And I say, owners, watch him. And he's hiding, dog goes by, and then back to hide. Dog goes.
Yeah.
And it's one of the quickest ways to build, and because what the little dog's learning, oh, that thing's a dog. It's a lot bigger than the little dogs I grew up with.
And that end doesn't bite.
And that end doesn't bite. Very perceptive, Jamie.
Okay, so
all right, sorry.
I do want to touch briefly, at least, on, so if you want to prevent reactivity, one of the best things you can do, take your puppy to puppy class, take your puppy to another puppy class, keep doing that through adolescence.
It's a strand.
Yeah.
You come into puppy, well, you can come into puppy K at 8 weeks, but it's largely handheld.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see, hear, and smell other dogs.
Right.
We go straight from PK at 12 weeks, whether you're still doing your PK,
Mm-hmm.
get into puppy 1 as early as possible.
Yeah.
And you can do it up to 23 weeks, which would be the age of a dog at 18 weeks coming in, the maximum age for entering. Once you get to 23 weeks, get into puppy 2,
Mm-hmm.
and you can repeat it as much as you like.
Yes.
And now what's happening in puppy 2 is they're learning social savvy to the incomers coming in.
Yeah.
And they're so much safer. They're learning how to be around little dogs and how to teach them. It's okay. But when they come in, it's a wise up. So that gives us the opportunity. What if we have a dog who's so over the top, I can't get him to play calmer, can't tone down his play. I say, could you just stay on after class for an hour?
Yeah.
And we'll put your puppy 1 bully into puppy 2.
Yeah.
It takes 1 minute. And these dogs don't come over and squish it. They just go still and look at this little jerk until okay. But then he plays with them.
Yeah. Okay. But what I wanted to ask about was actually...
You can point the finger if it's a but. Yeah.
What I wanted to ask about was, if you don't have access to a puppy class in your neighborhood, in your community, what can you do? What is the next best thing to desensitize or socialize your puppy and prevent dog-dog reactivity?
There's nothing like it.
So
we have to go back to where we were in the 90s and the aughts, where there were puppy classes everywhere.
Okay.
And to give an example, I was giving a lecture in Seattle.
Yeah.
I said, who teaches puppy classes? And I say, who lives miles from anywhere? And the guy put his hand up. And it turned out, I'll shorten the story, he lived in a house 70 miles from the nearest house.
Yeah.
That was 100 miles from the nearest town, which was Anchorage in Alaska. He held puppy class once a week. Some people drove a couple hundred miles. Others flew in. But the point is, he made it happen.
Yeah.
And we had that option now, and now we got so many puppy classes which are on leash.
Yeah.
And you lose this great opportunity to totally prevent dog-dog reactivity ever happening.
Yeah.
And quality of life dip for not just the dog, the owner.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a shame.
I went down to the dog park the other day. I haven't got a dog at the way, since Susie died. And I just sat there and watched the dogs play.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And to deny owners and to deny dogs that, it's a shame. We've got to get puppy classes back on leash. There will be some near you.
Right. So we're almost out of time. I want to wrap this up pretty quick. But I do want to see if I can provide some ideas for people who maybe don't have a good puppy class near them. And you can add on that or tell me if I'm wrong in any way.
Go for it, Jamie.
But it seems like there's a lot you can do. And obviously learned all this from you. Just by taking your pup out into the world on outings.
Yes.
Safely taking your
Very
dog.
important.
Car trips. Put them in a little stroller or a carrier. Let them see the world around them, because while playing with puppies, especially off-leash play with puppies, is super important, all of the desensitization adds to their confidence. And that a dog, when it's dog-dog reactive, part of that is probably based on, a lack of social savvy with other dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is also probably just based on anxiety around unfamiliar people, places, things. So just that.
Or its own shadow.
Or its own shadow.
Yeah.
So just any sort of baseline desensitization towards unfamiliar people, things, having puppy parties, or having a party where you have people come over, all that's good.
That is safe.
Yeah. And then, secondly, it sounds like having play dates with older dogs that are vaccinated and healthy also provides some of that off-leash play experience. And so even if you can't set up a play date, I mean, even if you can't set up, go to a puppy class, if you have friends in the neighborhood with older dogs that are well socialized, having some play dates with, especially like, because what you were saying is a lot of people run into this problem where the puppy grows up at home with a single dog, gets familiar with it, and their play style gets kind of out of control. But playing with several unfamiliar dogs seems like that would kind of ameliorate that. But does that sound reasonable for people who truly have looked for puppy classes?
Yeah, you see, we're looking at a puppy class at 12 weeks. So by now, we have several. It's not such a risk. If you've had 2 shots after, you've got pretty good immunity. The other option, of course, is what a lot of people do. They go straight into a dog park. Now, this is where I would actually stay outside for a bit first and look with a very young puppy. And I know a lot of people are down on dog parks. Oh, it's terrible. But I have been to some beautiful dog parks. My favorite ones are in Manhattan. They're wonderful. And the dogs are well socialized, good social savvy, and well trained in a lot of them. So you're looking for a dog park, but just remember, one wrong dog in that dog park, and it ruins it for the lot and maybe for your puppy. So be there and be with your puppy.
Yeah.
And consider this, have your puppy on leash so he can't run off and get into trouble just for the first couple of trips.
I think we'll definitely have to do a iWoofs in the future all about how to use a dog park
correct
the right way.
You're right. Yeah.
But I think that
write that on your note.
I did. How to use a dog park.
Oh, well done.
I did. I'm one step ahead. But I think that's it for today.
Good.
So thank you very much, Dad, for talking about
Jamie.
this.
Good questions.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching, and we'll see or hear you next time. Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to learn more about dog training and behavior, make sure you visit DunbarAcademy.com to check out our selection of courses, many of which are completely free. If you'd rather watch more of our videos here on YouTube, just click the links to the right. And if you want to follow us on social media, everything you need is directly below. As always, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell for notifications.